Hello there, people of the internet. Sun's starting to go down, but that's alright. This is probably going to be a pretty quick video. I had somebody ask me to explain straight pull rifles. So this person is, well, they don't like straight pull rifles because they feel like they're dangerous and that they can, you know, pop open whenever you pull the trigger. And I mean, whenever you have yourself a bolt action rifle like this right here, which requires a manual rotation of the bolt in order to unlock it, I mean, people that just don't know how these systems work think that this is safer than a straight pull rifle. And whenever I was telling this person, you know, no, that's not the case, they're like, all right, could you go ahead and show me why? And sure, why not? So our straight pull rifle for today is my Schmid-Rubin. This is a 9611, I think that's the designation for this one. But this right here is a rifle where, let me pop the magazine out slightly. Our bolt handle right here, all you do, you don't twist it or turn it or anything like that. You just pull it straight back and then you push it straight forward. And whenever you fire your rifle, bang, you just pull this back and forward, just like this. You don't have to worry about rotating the bolt or anything. And, well, there's more people out there that were scared of this than I was expecting there to be, because it turns out this is a pretty normal occurrence. I was talking to somebody down at the gun store, and they had talked about how people don't like systems like this, and they don't like semi-automatic shotguns because they feel like that they're too unsafe and they prefer pump action shotguns. But then you have people that don't like pump action shotguns because they feel like same reason, they feel like the pump and bolt and whatnot is just going to come flying back at them, and they don't realize that there's a locking system built into the rifle. So let's go ahead and talk about that real quick. With a bolt action rifle that is required, well, that requires you to turn the mechanism in order to unlock it, there are these locking lugs on the end of the bolt, and these are the locking lugs right here. And whenever you turn the bolt, these locking lugs, they go into recesses. That's the word I'm looking for. They go into recesses that are cut into the receiver. Depending on the rifle, they might be in the receiver or a trunnion or something like that. But they go into some sort of locking surface that is cut into the rifle itself, and those large pieces of metal on the bolt are what holds the bolt in place. So whenever I go like this, those locking lugs are engaging those locking surfaces inside of the rifle, and now I have those huge pieces of metal that stop the bolt from flying back into my face. Now with a straight pull rifle, you have that same thing, but instead of you having to manually turn the thing, this has a built-in camming system that does it for you. So this system's a little bit different. There's different variations of the Schmid-Rubin straight pull, but I'm going to show you guys this one. Normal, like for the Mauser, the locking lugs are up here. For this one, the locking lugs are actually right here. But right here is what we're looking at. This right here is our camming system. And whenever you push this forward, this will actually cam along this groove and turn this piece, which has these locking lugs, into a locking recess inside of the rifle, just like how the bolt action Mauser does. You cannot close this thing without turning these lugs, because if that does not turn and this camming surface is not engaged, then this piece right here, this bar of metal, will just be pressing up against the edge of the camming surface, and you will not be able to push it any further without like breaking through the metal, and that's not going to happen with normal human strength. So you will engage this camming surface, and these locking lugs will turn into the position that they need to be in order to lock the bolt. This right here is as safe of a system as a manually operated bolt action rifle. You still have the locking lug system that locks into the rifle itself to stop the bolt from popping open. The only difference is there's a built-in mechanism inside the bolt that turns the bolt, like the bolt turns itself, so you don't have to do it. And as a result, this right here is a slightly faster action, but as you can see, it is definitely a way more complicated action. Now, this is not the only kind of straight pull bolt action rifle that's out there. And the M95 series, the Steyr series, comes to mind. But just with the way that this system operates, I cannot show you the actual camming system rotating because it is covered by this receiver. But I assure you that as I push this thing, you can actually, well, I can actually feel when the camming surface is engaged, because there's quite a bit of tension as those locking lugs are pushed into the locking recesses of the rifle. So with our straight pull here, I got myself a couple of rounds. 7.5 Swiss is Not the easiest round to find, but I do have a couple of rounds here. And this very old rifle, the magazine in it is definitely a little on the worn out side. But I got a couple of rounds. All I do, push that forward. Those locking systems are engaged, and this rifle is now safe to fire as long as I'm firing it in a proper direction and following all the firearm safety rules. But this rifle will not pop back into my face. So whenever I hit my target, as you can see, the bolt did not fly back into my face because those locking lugs are inside of the locking recesses. Whenever I pull this back and that opens, it's going to send my cartridge out, which I think landed behind me. There she is. Reloadable brass, so make sure I save that. And now all I do is I cycle the next one in. And now that that's done, pull that out, watch where it goes so I don't lose it. And now I have 2 spent cases and I think that's all of my 7.5 Swiss ammunition. But as you can see, just straight pull rifle out and in. Pull this down a little bit so I can go ahead and do that. Bang, 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 bang. I imagine that people that are more skilled at that can do that way faster than I can. Whereas our turn bolt rifle, I just so happen to have some 8mm Mauser around here, so I figured, hey, why not? Our turn bolt rifle, whenever I load the rounds into this thing, if I push this forward and do not turn it, it is not engaged. That bolt is literally just kind of sitting there. I did not pick up a cartridge either, but that bolt is just kind of sitting there and not locking in. Unlike our straight pull rifle, so I manually have to turn this thing in order to, because there's no camming surface on this thing, in order to lock those locking lugs into the recesses in the rifle. And now I can go ahead and fire, but I have to turn that bolt every time I do. Now, if I try just pulling back on this thing, because those locking lugs, those thick pieces of steel, are locked inside of this receiver, I cannot open it until I move this and pull it back and open it myself. So now they're unlocked, and I can pull that back and load another round in. And I can continue to fire just like this. I will say that the straight pull is definitely an easier design, but this is, like I said, far simpler. All right. And just like that, now I have to clean this rifle because that was corrosive ammunition. But hopefully this cleared some stuff up for you guys, and hopefully you had fun watching. Straight pull rifles, they're not unsafe as long as you're using the proper ammunition. Like the old school, I think it was like 88, 90 Steyr rifles. They're straight pull rifles, but they got like a flapper system in them. And they're not designed for the 8x56 cartridge. Like the system's just not designed to be able to handle pressures of that cartridge. So you got to pay attention to that particular straight pull. But that is definitely the exception of the rule. So thanks for watching, folks. It's getting dark, so I'm going to go ahead and head in. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below. Have you ever heard of this phenomenon where people are just scared of these types of rifles because they think that the bolt's going to come back into their face? As a matter of fact, I have a Winchester 1897 pump action shotgun, and whenever you pump that thing, the bolt comes back towards you, and the bolt's back facing you, and then it goes back into the receiver whenever you push the pump forward. And I actually have somebody who refuses to shoot that because they feel like it's unsafe, because they feel like the bolt is going to come back into their face. And I'm like, no, that's very much not going to happen with this Winchester. Anyway, folks, let me know if you guys have any experience with situations like that. That being said, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check that out. It's getting dark, so I'm going to go ahead and head in. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you all on the next episode. since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.